All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about if statements. So for this example, we're going to take somebody's age and print out if they're a child, a teen, or an adult. So we'll start with age being 10. So let's go ahead and see what this should print out. We're expecting it to, yep, say that they're a child. Now, if you notice, we have these broken up as if this, if this, if this. And if you remember, the way that if statements work is you check to see if this statement is true, and if it is true, you execute whatever is inside of that scope of that if statement. And we can add in an else statement. So let's go ahead and go down here and say else. And this else statement is going to be the equivalent to saying, hey, if that's not true, do this other code. Okay. So we'll kind of take out this 18 and say, hey, if your age is 0 to 3, you're a child. If you're 13 to 18, you're a teen. Else, if you're not, then you're an adult, right? And we would expect this to work just the same, right? Um, but what's the problem? The problem is each one of these is executing in its own is executing by itself. So we're saying, hey, if the age is between these two, check this, but this is its own statement. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we add in an else here to kind of do a nested statement. And so what it's going to do is instead of running each of those individually, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to check this. If it's true, I'm going to write this, that they're a child. Else, I'm going to come into here and check, hey, if you're 13 to 18, you're a teen. Else, you're an adult. Okay, so that should clear up that saying that you're a child and an adult. All right, so you're a child. Now, we could also do the same thing, but we can do, instead of doing the nested if statement like this, taking up these 9 lines of code, we can shorten it by saying, hey, let's go ahead and reduce this a couple lines of code. Okay, so we say, hey, if this, else this, else this. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's just going to check, hey, if your age is this, print out one of these three. And notice here, you print it, you're a child. And another thing I want to point out is it doesn't matter if you're using a nested if statement like this. Whenever you hit the first example that's true, it's always gonna return that first value. So we can actually, instead of having these compound conditional statements, let's flip it around and say, hey, if your age is greater than or equal to 18, let's say you're an adult. Else, if your age is greater than or equal to 13, you're a teen. Else, you're a child. Okay. So as 10, age is greater than 18, that's going to be false. 13, that's going to be false, so you're going to be a child, right? But what if we change this age to be something that's going to be true for both age 18 and age 13? So let's say we're 20. 20 is greater than 18 and greater than 13. But like I said before, it's just going to execute that first piece and kind of break out of that the rest of those if statements, even if it is true for the if statements lower down. So you can see how much simpler this looks from that matrix than from the original one that we had. So hopefully that helps you kind of think about how using if statements can be a powerful tool for you and how to kind of reduce the lines of code that you have to do the same task. So I hope you enjoyed.